Hello, everyone. This is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horn, and I'm bringing you a video tonight titled Chastisement is the highest form of love in a relationship. But before we go any further, always know that my messages in the dating space, they're always inspired by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to push me with the algorithm and to just continue to engage. Thank you for my new subscribers. I'm taking notice of you and your efforts to help me grow, and I'm thankful. But tonight is going to be something a little different. I was interrupted by the Spirit of Truth to bring forth a message. And it came about because I was watching the Dear Wifey podcast, a clip. I saw a clip on Instagram, and there was a pastor who was relaying a message as if you're supposed to exhibit long suffering in a marriage. And his point that he was trying to make was that no matter what the woman did in the relationship and in the marriage, that he still exercised long suffering and that God never gave up on him, and that he was willing to withstand anything that his wife was doing to him because of the grace that was extended to him by God. And he talked about chasing your wife through mistreatment and just things that weren't necessarily healthy. And just me and my perception and what I spiritually perceived in his message is that he was just completely wrong. When a person loves you, they're going to chastise you, meaning that they're going to introduce what you need to do in order to meet them the same way that they're meeting you. That's what chastisement is. They're trying to give you a chance before they leave the relationship because they love you. And chastisement is something that it's the byproduct of the love that the person has for you, but the person is mentally healthy enough to respect the connection that you two have and not just leave the relationship. So chastisement is the highest form of love in a relationship because oftentimes when you're doing things to someone to the degree that they need to chastise you, if they didn't love you, they would just leave you. But their love for you is what allows them to chastise you, to offer solutions so that you two can still remain one and grow and ultimately go to a destination. That's what chastisement is. And the chastisement isn't necessarily about you. It's about the rarity of the connection that they have with you. Any mentally healthy person knows that to find someone who desires you the way that you desire them, that's a rarity. And to have emotions grow with fervor at the same rate, that's a blessing. And that's something that people will not squander even if things arise in the relationship. But there does come a point where their efforts will be pulled back to themselves if they don't see any changes within you. So the person who loves you, they chastise you, not because of the love that they necessarily have for you. It's out of respect and reverence for the union and the desire that you two share. And what is often taken for granted is that you think this person is going to be there forever. Oftentimes when the person chastises you, they're seeing things in you that they know are going to be a detriment to their individual quality of life if they stay. They're seeing imbalance. So the chastisement is saying, hey, you're doing things that I wouldn't do to you, and I need you to correct these things. I need you to find it within yourself to self-correct. See, people, when someone chastises you, they're not going to bend to you. They're not going to overexert themselves because chastisement is coming from a person who has a healthy self-love, healthy amount of self-love. So they're going to present some things to you. They're not going to overextend themselves to you. They're not going to go to your side. And they're hoping that you have enough value and you find enough value in them and in what they're presenting to you. So that's what the chastisement is. And so they're not going to disrespect themselves. And what's taken for granted is that this person loves themselves. So they're The chastisement, if it's not adhered to, and this is what surprises the other person, the chastisement is going to be followed by a quick departure. You're not going to know what happened because they didn't do it for you, because their love for you will never exceed their love for themselves. That's what being balanced is. They didn't do it for you. They did it for the connection that they had with you, if that makes any sense. They acknowledge that this connection is rare, and they try to do everything that they could to preserve it without disrespecting themselves and without overextending themselves. That's what chastisement looks like when it comes from a mentally and spiritually healthy person. And that's what's taken for granted, is that when they're gone because they gave it everything that they had. And you never want to be on the wrong side of not adhering to the chastisement when the person presents it to you. And a lot of times, if you're in a relationship with the person, a lot of times that's your first choice, meaning that you're very attracted to them. You know that everything's reciprocated. You can trust this person. They showed up in your life the right way. They've maybe had some longevity, and to the point that you can trust that they're there for the right reasons. And the only thing that can have you mess it up with a person like this is the serpent. The only thing that will make you think that you can outdo a person who was divinely sent to you, who is an exact match of everything that you ever wanted, who's giving you treatment and reverence that no other person has given you, and you acknowledge that this is my person. The only thing that will require this person to chastise you is you have a false perception of yourself and your importance in that person's life. And that's the serpent right there. That's narcissism. Narcissism is entrenched in pride and a false sense of self. That's what narcissism is. And the only thing that could have you to rob yourself of the heaven of the experience that you can experience with the right person, the person who's a complete representation of everything that you want, the only thing that can beguile you and sell you a false sense of reality with this person is the serpent. And that's why I say this message is going to be different tonight, because I'm seeing the root of some things right now. And this person will do what they need to do to show you what you need to do to stay in their space. And these are healthy offerings that the person is giving to you out of their love for you, and more so for their love for the connection and the reverence of the connection that you two share. But when they're gone, they're gone. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of chastisement. And that's why I disagree with the pastor, because he painted this picture that essentially there's no wrong you can do to the other person, and that they're always going to choose you because God always chooses us. And that's a complete falsehood. If God always chose us and there's nothing that we can do to separate from him, then he wouldn't chastise us. A chastising is firing warning shots to get us in alignment to maintain the relationship that God wants to have with us. That's why the Bible says God chastises. He chases those that he loves. The same thing with the person that was brought into your life. That's a complete representation of your match and the optimal fulfillment. They're chastising you because they want you to stay. But the beauty about God and the beauty about elevated, self-loving people is that they're going to give you the chance to self-correct. A self-loving person never forces, they only present. And you never want to be on the wrong side of when they withdraw their energy from you, because it's swift. And when they're gone, they're gone. And there are some people who have been patient with you. And there are some people who want to stay with you, and they've offered offerings. They've chastised you, and you didn't adhere to it. And they're getting on the verge of leaving, and you can feel it. Adhere to the chastisement if you really value that person. Don't let the serpent beguile you. And if we couldn't be separated from God, then there would be no hell. There would be no lake of fire. And chastisement on this side of eternity from God with us, his people that he loves, his children. Chastisement is the opportunity to get it right before you can no longer get it right. And that's why I disagree with the pastor, because there is a place where your relationship can end with God. And that's on the other side of eternity where there's no more choice. And that's why he chastises us so that we can get it right and we can really experience heaven here and an extended stay in heaven in eternity. That's what chastisement really is. The root of it is for. It's so that we can have a relationship that never ends. And when this person across from you is chastising you, it's because they want to have a relationship with you that never ends, because they value the magnitude and the purity of the connection. And once they feel the connection is only one-sided, now the connection is tainted. And now it's no longer about you, it's about them and their quality of life. And you never want to get to that place with the person. When they're chastising you, they give you an opportunity. And once they see the connection is imbalanced and is corroded, then now you represent pain for them because you're not in it the same way that they're in it. And once that person concludes that, because you did not adhere to the chastisement, they're gone. And you'll never get them back because they can never trust you. That's why the highest form of love in a relationship is chastising the person, giving them an opportunity. And if you don't think this is real, then just think about how it says, even in the Bible. I don't want to get too biblical or spiritual, but just think about how it says in the Bible where, people are in heaven. They've gone to the other side. And he says, "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I knew you not." Meaning that I gave you chastisement. God is sovereign. He's present in every corner of the earth and beyond. He sends us messages. He sends us chastisement to get it right so that we can have an eternal relationship with him. And there is a point where all of us stop breathing. And now we no longer have choice. And we're on the other side of eternity. And if your choices did not culminate into a reverence and respect for God, no, meaning that you adhere to his chastisement and he felt as if you revered him enough that he could maintain a relationship with you on the other side, he said, "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I knew you not." And that's where you don't want to get with the person who loves you enough to chastise you, because they want to have that never-ending relationship with you. It's nothing like the torment of knowing that you had opportunities to get things right, knowing that people extended opportunities, people that you value, people who were instrumental in your growth and, made you feel a safety that you never felt before, who helped you to elevate. There's nothing like experiencing that and having that presence in your life withdrawn. And that's what happens to us. That's a literal torment. That's a torment when you have a person, you took them for granted, and you understand the full magnitude of who this person was in your life when they're in a place that you can never access them again because they were forced to choose themselves. That's a torment that I don't want any person to experience. But that's what's on the other side of not adhering to chastisement. That's what's on the other side. And we can look at this biblically and spiritually, and how there are some people who didn't adhere to chastisement on this side of eternity, and they're forced into the lake of fire. And they're tormented because their mind is intact. They remember all of the warning shots that were fired based on the love that God had for them and the relationship that he wanted to maintain with them so that he could always have the relationship with him, even on this side of eternity and the other side. And if you don't adhere to the chastisement, you're on the other side with the full memory of God, but you no longer have access to him. And the same with people. There are people who are chastising you in love. And when they're gone, all you have is the memory of them. And you no longer have access to them. That when a good person is gone and they've exercised chastisement, they're gone. That's it. And so that's torment. That's the ultimate form of torment, to have a separation from God. And this is what the pastor didn't touch on. The ultimate form of torment is to know of God when you, at one point in time, knew God. Torment is knowing of someone that you once knew. That's the ultimate torment, is knowing of someone that you once knew. And when a good person withdraws himself from your space, they're done chastising you. They're done trying to to preserve the relationship, and they sever the relationship. Now you're on the other side. Now you have no access to them. And that person that you once knew, now you know of them, and you're tormented. And you're tormented because you know that you had an opportunity with that person and you squandered it. You know that they were hanging in there as much as they could without disrespecting themselves, giving you warning shot after warning shot in specific areas within the relationship, and you disregarded each one. That's torment. That you have to understand the magnitude of this person and their presence in your life when they're gone, and you don't fully feel it until they've departed from your presence. And now you're experiencing your own lake of fire because that person was literal heaven sent to you, and you squandered it. That is a torment that is unmatched. And so you want to adhere to the warning shots because there's still an opportunity to salvage the things that are deteriorating in your life, the connections, the important connections. Because once you are in your respective lake of fire, meaning that you're completely disconnected and you're left with the memory. That's the lake of fire, is the memory. And you can no longer access the person. That's a torment that you don't want to experience. And I'll culminate this into I'll share something a little personal and just, about my last relationship. And I remember her saying to me, "You're always trying to punish me." And she didn't realize that it was out of respect for the connection that I had with her. It was out of that respect. It was out of the love. But, when it's gone, when the attempts are being refuted, then the other person is gone. And that was it. And that was gone. And perhaps that's something she realizes or she doesn't. That's none of my business at this point. But I've experienced this particular message that I was given. I've experienced this firsthand. And you want to not be beguiled, because that's narcissism that will have you squander these heavenly opportunities that God has given us, whether it's in the form of a relationship with him or just in relationships in general and special people that enter your life. That's that torment. And the narcissism makes you think that you have the perfect person in your life, the person who is suited for you, the person who evoked emotions in you that you've never experienced. This is the person for you. And the narcissism makes you think that you can do better than the perfection that was given directly to you. And the only person that can beguile you to that point is the serpent. That's the only person that can beguile you to that point, that you have such an overinflated sense of yourself, that narcissism that's entrenched in pride and deception. That's the only thing that can make you think and move in a way that you can do better than the heaven that was sent directly to you. Narcissism makes you think that you can get any of your exes back. Narcissism makes you think that you have permanent access to people without the understanding of how much that person loves themselves. Narcissism is all about you. And where does narcissism come from? The only person who can squander the heaven, who can inspire you to squander the heaven that was given to you, is the person who squandered their place in heaven. And that's the serpent. And so some of you need to reconsider some things and understand that you had the right person, and you might still have the right person, and they're chastising you, but you don't know when their presence is going to be removed from your life. And you want to get it right while they're still in your presence, because once they're no longer in your presence, you cannot get it right. They're gone forever. I promise you. They'll deal with the pain, they'll move on, and you will become a distant memory. And you will be tormented in your own lake of fire. And let me bring this to something that is present day for some people who may have been following Tia Mowry and Corey Hardrick, the divorce. And Tia Mowry, child star, actress, did some things, was consistently successful, elevated, rich, fame, everything that you can ask for, had a loving husband, gave her beautiful children, and one day she woke up and said she graduated from the marriage. The serpent beguiled her. And she's being tormented right now because her husband does not speak of her name. And she speaks of his name on a regular basis. And she doesn't just speak about his name. She talks about the hardships of the dating pool that she voluntarily entered back into when she had a loving husband and father in her life in the form of her ex-husband. All she does is complain about how no one is giving her the treatment. Chivalry is dead. The dating pool is mired. These are her actual words, because she's chasing the treatment that the person who was given to her gave her. She squandered divinity, and she went to the world because she was beguiled and is trying to look to the world to provide her divinity. And it doesn't work that way. But what happened to Corey Hardrick? He recently came out and talked about how he cried himself to sleep for 1.5 years. He was betrayed because his wife was beguiled. He was betrayed. And he said he's stronger than he thought he was, meaning that he was supernaturally restored to a place that he healed. And that was God's grace on his life. But where's Tia Mowry? Spiraling, complaining, remembering, trying to naturally recreate what heaven divinely delivered to her, because the serpent beguiled her. And you don't have to be on that side when that chastisement is still there. Where's Corey Hardrick? One of the leading men in Black Hollywood, Divorcing Black with Tyler Perry, receiving $75 million for a multi-film deal. #1 movie in the world a couple of months ago. He elevated and she declined. Let's call it what it is. Because the woman that he said that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with, he saw nothing better than her, cherished her, revered her, the children they created, the lives they created. He was blindsided because Tia was beguiled by the serpent. And that's the whole point of what I'm saying, is that I wanted you all to see this in real time. This was a divinely inspired message that I received earlier today, and I couldn't do anything else but share it. You don't want to be on the wrong side of chastisement. If a person is chastising you, they're still in it with you. And that connection can be restored. But once the connection dissipates, you're only left with your own torment. The memory of what could have been. And the reality of you trying to recreate the divinity that was given to you. I think I said enough. You don't want to be on the wrong side of chastisement. Chastising is the highest form of love in a relationship. That's the turning point. Whether your emotions can grow deeper together and you can grow, or whether you will be beguiled and the narcissism will get the best of you, thinking that there's something greener than the heavenly pastures that were hand delivered to you. I hope you've enjoyed this one. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach, bringing you a video tonight titled Chastising is the highest form of love in a relationship. It's been brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to help me to push me up the algorithm so I can continue to bring you more messages like this. And if this message has been of value to you, do not hesitate to drop something in my donation information that will be in the description. Help me to keep these videos going. Help as you keep me going. If you feel as if coaching from someone like me could be valuable to you, to help you to get the elevated and fulfilling and lasting experiences in the dating space that you truly desire, email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. I've enjoyed spending some time with you on this one. I know it's a little different. I pray that you received it, and I'll be back at you very soon with some more videos. Adhere to the chastisement and fully embrace the heaven that was hand delivered to you.